We're on to the minutes, item 5. Can we have a proposer for the minutes, please?
That was Ben Crystal before.
Councillor Crystal. Councillor Hall?
Yes, happy to second.
Right, and those are approved. Right, we're moving on to item 6, the summary of procedure. Actually, do we want to do the introductions first before we go to the procedures?
Yeah,
let's do the introductions first. That'd be best. My name's Councillor Rosemary Bolton. I'm chairing this panel. I am ward councillor for Kingsmead in Hertford. And my fellow panel members, please.
Councillor Tony Hall for Puckeridge, District Councillor.
Thank you.
Councillor Ben Crystal for Bengio in Hertford.
Thank you. The officers, please.
Peter Mannings, Democratic Services Officer, East House.
Victoria Wilders, Legal Services Manager.
Brad Wheeler, Senior Licensing and Enforcement Officer.
John Williams, also Democratic Services.
Thank you. Then we have a ward member, I believe.
Yes, good afternoon. Jeff Williamson, local member for Little Hadham.
Thank you, Councillor Williamson. Do we have anyone representing the parish council?
Hello, yes, Liz Lloyd-Williams here, the chair for Little Hadham Parish Council.
Thank you, welcome. And then we have residents. Do we have residents?
Yeah.
Yes, it's Mike Scott from Hadham Hall, a resident.
Mike Scott. Thank you, Mr. Scott.
And I'm Carol Page, Clerk, Little Hadham Parish Council.
Thank you. Okay, any other residents?
No. This.
Is it just you, Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Looks like
Evidently,
it.
yes.
Right, yeah. And the applicants, please.
Good afternoon. My name's David Collins. I'm the Managing Director of Hadham Brewing Company, and I'm representing the applicant.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm William Compton from Hadham Brewery.
I'm Matt Dixon from Hadham Brewery.
Thank you. We guessed you there, Mr. Dixon.
What gave it away?
We're not so stupid, you know, at the district. Right, does that account for everybody?
I think so, yes.
Councillor Andrews, do you wish to say anything? Mind you, he hasn't got a mic, I think, so I think he just has to listen in. Yep, silence from Councillor Andrews. Councillor Andrews is the chair of the licensing committee who is listening in but not taking any part in the proceedings. So we'll move on to the application. The council panel members, together with the officer, Brad Wheeler, we made a site visit last week to the site. So we have been there and seen everything. Well, we didn't go inside, but from the outside. Legal Services, Victoria, would you like to say anything, please?
Yes, thank you, Chair. And just to deal with an out-of-time objection, an out-of-time objection was sent to members of the subcommittee, and the representations were made within that objection, but they will be disregarded and not form part of the decision-making process in connection with this application.
Thank you. Right, the summary of procedure is set out in pages 17 to 24 of the report. I hope you've all had sight of that. Hopefully it's all clear. We will be starting off with the report by the licensing officer. Then questions and points of clarification can be asked of him. We will then move on to the applicant to talk through their application, and they can take questions and points of clarification. Then we will move on to the interested parties in the order of ward member, parish council and residents. Then we will finish with, then after that we will have any questions or point of clarification. We will finish then with the closing submissions, which will be a brief summary, so no new evidence to be introduced, and just a brief summing up with no questions at the end. And after that, the panel members will withdraw with the legal advisor and a member of Democratic Services. The licensing officer will not be taking part in any of our discussions, and nor will the other members. So if anyone's got any questions, please put up your hand. Oh, I think we're quite easy to see everyone. So let's proceed while we still got Councillor Hall on the line. So Brad Wheeler, as a licensing officer, could you introduce your report, please?
Of course, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon to you all. Contained in the papers in front of you is my full report outlining the application for a new premise licence under the Licensing Act 2003, specifically Section 17. This can be found between pages 25 and 51 of the agenda pack. As you've already seen the report and the accompanying documents, I will provide a brief summary to the application and the representations received. On the 6th of April 2020, a full application was received for a new premise licence from the applicant Hadham Brewery Company Limited in regards to a premises known as Hadham Brewery, situated at Unit 6B, Hadham Industrial Estate, Church End, Little Hadham, SG11 2DY. This application was, however, varied on the 14th of May 2020. The proposed varied application proposes the following licensable activities to be granted. This being the supply of alcohol on and off the premises, but split into 3 different areas. So the first area is the supply of alcohol for consumption off the premises as an online shop between the hours of 8 AM and 10 PM, Monday to Sunday. The supply of alcohol for consumption off the premises as a retail shop between 9 AM and 10 PM, again, Monday through to Sunday. And the supply of alcohol for consumption on the premises between 12 and 11 PM, Monday to Saturday, and between 12 and 10:30 PM on a Sunday. The application can be found in Appendix A, which is on pages 53 to 76 of the full report. Regards to the steps to promote the licensing objectives, the applicant has stated a number of steps that can be taken to promote the licensing objectives. These can be found on pages 69 of the application form, or in paragraphs 3.7 of my report. As you've already seen them, I shall just briefly summarise these down to include staff training, challenge 25, refusals register, 30-minute drinking up time, monitoring noise levels on and off the site. These were strengthened with consultation with the police and environmental health, as detailed in paragraph 3.9 of the report. This includes steps on CCTV, age verification, deliveries, and signs at the entry and exits requesting that customers leave quietly. During the consultation period, there has been representations received regarding this application. These representations are from the ward councillor, parish council, and local residents acting as interested parties. These are regarding to the prevention of public nuisance, the prevention of crime and disorder, and the public safety licensing objectives. These representations can be seen from pages 77 of the bundle in Appendix B. The report looks at the East Hart Statement of Licensing Policy, the revised guidance under Section 182 of the Licensing Act 2003, and provides information submitted by the applicant and the interested parties making a representation, and the subcommittee should determine this application with a view of promoting the 4 licensing objectives. In determining the application, the subcommittee should consider if they believe that the applicant has provided evidence that the licence, if granted, would promote and not undermine the licence objectives. This evidence should be balanced against the evidence of those making representations that they believe that the licence objectives would be undermined. If members believe that the application would not be undermined, the licensing objectives, then the application should be granted as requested. If members believe that there is evidence that if granting the application, this would not promote the licensing objectives, then it's within your remit to take any action that you believe is appropriate and proportionate to address your concerns. Members can attach conditions or take any steps that they believe is appropriate to promote the licence objectives. This includes limiting of hours for licensable activities, or if there's no steps that you believe that can be taken, then you may refuse the application in its entirety, but this should be the last resort. The subcommittee determination should be evidence-based, justified as being appropriate for the promotion of the 4 licensing objectives, and proportionate in what you intend to achieve. That completes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Right. I'm not muted there, am I? No. Shall we go on to questions from the panel? Councillor Hall, you're still online, I can see. Have you got any questions, please, or points of clarification?
I'm okay at this stage. I'm just flicking through the notes at the moment. I have a few questions with regard to off sale at premises, but if I could just find my notes, I'll come back to you in a moment on that.
Okay, we'll move on to Councillor Crystal, please.
Nothing at present, thank you.
Right. I have got a couple of questions, please, and obviously panel members can come back. Brad, as licensing officer, can you clarify about the need for the hours for doing online sales? What hours are needed for that? Are there special hours or not? How does that work?
Well, ultimately, the applicant is requesting between 2 seconds, I'm just going back up. Between 9 and 10.
I've got
9 AM and 10
online.
PM.
I've got 0800 and 2200 hours.
Yeah.
Is that
Sorry,
true?
yeah.
So what happens if sales come in overnight? They don't need license for
Well,
that.
ultimately, there's no one there to accept the order, okay, the sale, okay, to confirm the sale. So therefore, that can be done at 8 AM the next morning if this license is granted.
Okay, thank you. My next question is on your report 3.6, there's a talk about brewery tours. Can you clarify whether a license is actually required for a brewery tour? I'm assuming not.
The tour itself, no.
No. And what about if samples are drunk at the end of a brewery tour?
If samples are just given away free and not advertised and included in the price,
if there is a price, yeah.
Then there is no need for a license. Okay, if however that samples are given in and the ticket price includes free samples, for instance, then they're no longer free, so therefore a license would be required.
Right. So a license would be required for that, for brewery tours. But if the people in the brewery tour afterwards sit down within the premises or stand, whatever, and buy alcohol for consumption on the premise, that's when they need the on-site license.
Definitely.
Right, thank you. There's something else I wanted to ask, sorry. 3.31 of your report. you're talking about the alcohol consumption both inside and outside of the premises.
Give me 2 seconds, let me get to that page. Yeah, so.
Yeah, do you want to do any more clarification on? Well, obviously, that's a point to ask the applicant when it comes to their turn, as it were. Is there anything else you want to say about that or not?
I think the point there is quite thin. Alcohol consumption, okay, is not licensed. It's the supply of the alcohol that is licensed.
Okay. Okay. So that will be a question for the applicant when we get to you. Okay. Councillor Hall, have you found your notes now?
Yes, I've got my notes. It was really in relation to what you've just said. It's how off-sale would be managed off the premises effectively. So if there's off-sales being sold, how will that be managed by the applicant was my question. So perhaps we could wait until the applicant.
Question for the applicant. Yeah.
Yes.
Right, I've just been logged out. I love it when that happens. Right, Councillor Crystal, please.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I had a question for Brad. As I understand it, the applicants have been operating on a series of temporary event notices up until now for off sales, I believe. I just wondered whether there have been any complaints, any nuisance complaints, any complaints of nuisance up until now over those tens of.
I don't believe that there have been any complaints to Environment Health or Licensing.
Okay, thank you. Okay, panel members, have you got any other questions or points of clarification at the moment? No. Thank you. Then we shall move on to the ward councillor, Councillor Williamson. Do you have any questions or points of clarification for the officer? You're muted, Councillor Williamson. If you're talking, we can't hear anything.
Apologise. No, thank you.
No, thank you. Parish Council, I don't know. Are you? So we've got the chair of the parish council and we've got the secretary, is that right? Are you, is one of you, is just one of you doing the talking? Or how are you working? Do you have any questions?
No, I don't. I don't have any questions at this point.
Or clarification? No, not at the moment, thank you. And Ms. Page, do you have anything? You're muted.
No, we don't. Thank you.
We don't. Thank you. And then we'll move on to the applicant. Do you have anything? Any questions?
Questions or
points of clarification, or well, you'll get your turn to have your say, but about the officer's report. Do you have
nothing
anything?
that I won't cover when it's my opportunity?
Thank you. And Mr. Scott, do you have any questions or points of clarification?
Not at this time, no. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Right. Well, if nothing's going, no one's got anything else to add or ask. No, I don't see any hands up. We will move on to the applicant. Councillor Hall, were you going to say something, or is it just no?
No, nothing.
No, great, thank you. We'll move on to the applicant then.
Okay.
Who is doing the talking? Is that you, Ms. Collins?
It will indeed, for the moment, until I need clarification.
Right.
Or steering in the right direction. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for your time today. Just a little bit of information about the application. Hadham Brewing Company was granted planning permission. I know that's different to licensing, but planning in 2014 to commence as a microbrewery It's grown since then and it's become successful. On the planning application or planning permission granted in 2014, there were 4 planning conditions. All 4 of those planning conditions have been complied with from then until now and will continue to be complied with in all ways. The brewery has grown to a point now where we would like to add an additional route to market for the supply of the beer that we brew in the brewery. That route to market will be in 2 aspects. One is an online shop and the second is an on-site shop. The third aspect of what we're applying for is a tap room, which we will be using for marketing and for brewery visits and interested parties. This is much along the lines of what any microbrewery actually does. The question of brewery tours was raised earlier on. In 2019, there were 7 brewery tours for which we applied for a temporary events notice for each one, although that wasn't actually necessary. There have been no complaints, there have been no issues, there's been no drunkenness, and it has actually done an enormous amount of good for raising the profile, surprisingly locally as well. I'm not sure whether any of the people here today have been to a brewery tour, but a lot of local residents of Little Hadham have. The application that we've put in has been consulted with the EHO, who have provided a lot of valuable advice and basic approval. The police, they've provided a lot of good advice and basic approval, and to a certain extent the licensing authority, whilst not having granted approval, have given us a lot of information as to what's required. Let me just clarify a couple of things which I think are not clear from the application. In terms of shop times, the online shop will be open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but the supply or delivery of that or processing of those orders will not be outside normal work hours, largely 8 till 5. We are not looking to start delivering during the night or anything else like that. It's simply not feasible to do it or something that we would wish. Although it's a little unclear as to whether we need the licensing hours to be 24/7 to comply with the online business, or whether we actually only need it 8 till 5 to comply with the fulfillment of those orders. And if the panel would like to, the licensing authority would like to advise us on that, very happy to adjust what's required. The on-site shop, we are reckoning to run during office hours, so 9 AM to 5 PM. Again, we are not looking to open up anything after those hours because there's just no benefit. It would just be normal shop hours, possibly Saturday mornings, something like that, to allow for collections. So just to make clarification on the link between licensing hours and any traffic movements, it won't change the hours of any traffic movements for either of the shops, be it online or on site. When we come to the tap room, it's not a venue. We do not need music. We do not need external supply of any form of refreshment or alcohol or anything else. It is purely to allow us to sell a pint or two of our prized beer to enthusiasts at the end of a tour without having to apply for a temporary entertainment license every time we do it. And that's really all we're trying to do there. We are not promoting a nightclub. We are not promoting any form of venue, and there most certainly will not be any disruption to anybody else. I've heard that there is a question somewhere as to why Church End was not consulted. They were. but actually they are all in favour, as far as I understand, of a tap room, and have been very supportive of what we're trying to do. And some of them are very good customers of ours. And I think that's largely covered things from my point of view. If there's any questions, obviously we'd like to take them. But if I can refer people to paragraph 3.6 of Brad's report, I can't really put our intentions any clearer than what he's put in there. And thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Do either of the other applicants wish to say anything, or is that just, are you doing all the talking then, Ms Collins?
If they've got something
Mr.
to add,
Dixon?
by all means.
No, I've got nothing else to say on that.
Okay, Mr Compton?
Nothing to clarify at this moment, no.
Okay, thank you. Panel members, Councillor Hall, can you still hear everything? Please, I hope you can. Councillor Hall, you look like you're connected.
Definitely looks like it's connected. I was all shouted.
Is it? He's not muted, is he? He's gone. This is frustrating.
Okay.
We lost him. Have we lost him, Brad? Peter?
Sorry, hey, what happened? I dropped out.
You dropped out as well. This is going well, isn't it? It looks like we've lost Councillor Hall. Brad, he's not on your list, is he? I can't hear you. You're muted.
Sorry. No, I've got. He's not asking to be let through the.
But he's dropped off, has he?
He's dropped off, yeah.
But what happened? Did everyone drop out? What happened?
Yeah, just you and Councillor Hall, I think.
Councillor Hall. Okay.
Victoria?
We really need to seek clarification when we get Councillor Hall back,
Yeah.
as to how much he's heard.
How much he's heard, I know. Yeah.
There's, you know, this is not ideal in terms of if he's what the applicant had said. So I think we should just give it 5 minutes and evaluate after that time.
Yeah, we might just have to adjourn, because if we can't be sure of Councillor Hall hearing everything, we can't proceed. It's not fair on anyone.
Do you want me to try and call him, or has that already happened?
No.
Peter,
no, all that's happened, Peter, is that the applicant, Mr. Collins, read through his statement and went to the questions to Councillor Hall, who appeared to be online but didn't respond. So we don't actually know how much he's heard.
Peter, rather than you leaving, can you email me over Councillor Hall's telephone number, please?
Of course, yeah. 1 second.
I can only apologise to all parties. Sorry, this is not ideal.
There you go, Brad. On email.
Okay, I'm just going to mute myself for a moment.
Okay. So, Peter, if we can't get Councillor Hall back on, we're going to have to adjourn, aren't we?
Correct, yeah.
What's the situation? How long do we have to allow for that adjournment?
Well, as soon as everyone's available, really. I mean, it can be within a week or less, depends when everyone's available.
Okay.
They have to be the same members, ideally.
Hmm. Well, we've read all the paperwork, or online. We've got the we've done the site visit.
Yeah. So it could be later this week. Reach a convenient time.
It just depends on time, right? Okay, availability. And perhaps if we have Councillor Andrews as backup.
Yeah. And also the help if we can talk to the applicant and check the availability there as well. And,
Yeah, well, it'll have to be everyone, won't it? Yeah.
yeah, interested parties that are entitled. But yes, it's not just the members and officers; it's other people too.
Yeah. Yes, all stakeholders.
Should we use the next few minutes to possibly arrange a date in case we need it?
Could do.
Well, yes, I mean, Brad's availability is going to be key, so he won't be able to. I think. Victoria, what about you?
I was going to say, I think obviously we need to move to adjourn because we don't know if this is going to continue to keep happening throughout this process. Now I'm concerned that there's going to be valuable bits of information that's going to prejudice either party if Councillor Hall is not fully present. So I'm okay. I will happily fit in with whatever dates and move things around if that's helpful.
Right, thank you.
What about Friday?
Sorry,
Maybe.
Peter, you broke up then.
I was going to say perhaps maybe on Friday, perhaps. I mean, I don't know.
Well, personally, I can do Thursday anytime on Thursday or Friday, but not Wednesday. So I can do Thursday or Friday. What about the applicant, Mr. Collins?
Yes, I'll make any time Thursday or Friday.
About Friday.
Yeah, I'm okay.
They're available.
All right, you can do that. Peter, what about you? You can make yourself.
Friday afternoon, if that works.
I'm sorry, you keep breaking up,
Same
Peter.
sort of time. Well, obviously be 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock
Right.
Friday.
You could do that.
If that's
all right. Councillor Williamson.
Yes, that should be fine for me. Thank you.
All right.
Councillor Crystal.
All right, Brad, how are you doing?
Yeah, unfortunately can't get through. Therefore, unfortunately, we are going to need to go down the adjournment route.
Yeah, we're looking at the moment. We were just discussing. Certainly, we can do. Some of us can do Thursday or Friday. Friday's looking better at the moment. Councillor Crystal, you could do Friday.
I can.
You could. Obviously, we don't know about Councillor Hall. Councillor Wheeler. So, Brad, you could do Friday.
Friday, yeah, anytime.
Yeah.
Victoria.
Sorry.
Yes, that's fine. Yeah.
Victoria can. Mr. Collins can. Mr. Scott.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Right, yes, I can now.
Yes, I'm okay for Friday.
Brilliant, thank you. And what about the representatives from the parish council?
Friday's fine for me.
So, Ms. Page, what about Ms. Lloyd-Williams?
I could make Friday afternoon, but the morning would be a problem.
Okay.
Yeah, well, afternoon anyway, it'd be a 2 o'clock start, 2 p.m.
Okay.
So, right. So everyone that's present on here at the moment can do 2 o'clock on Friday. So if you can all pencil that in, please. And then Peter and Brad, if you between you can see if you can arrange this. You'll obviously need to contact Councillor Hall, and if he can't do it, and also Councillor Andrews, see if he can do it as well. He's sending a message saying, I will be free on Friday, hopefully be able to back up, which is great. So, but obviously it'd be better if we could get Councillor Hall. Yeah. Yes, Mr. Scott.
Is it possible for someone on probably one of the applicants to clarify what they're intending hours for the tap room? I know we're not discussing this now, but it seems to have changed a little bit from what I originally thought. So could someone say what is the intention for the tap room, what hours would be?
Okay, I think.
Would you like me to answer that?
Peter, is this appropriate for this question to be asked and answered at this point?
There's no harm in trying it between now and Friday, but perhaps not at this moment.
I would not say in this particular forum, but we can. The question can be asked between Brad and the applicant after we've closed this committee, and the officer will get in contact with the resident to confirm.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, I'm very sorry, everyone. I know everyone wanted to have this sorted this afternoon, but technology is working against us. So if we can adjourn until Friday afternoon, and everyone can be in touch with Brad.
Yeah.
It's mostly with Brad. Is it Brad you're coordinating?
Yeah,
Are
he'll
you?
be with himself. Yeah.
Yeah, with you, and then Peter. Obviously, you'll be in touch as well. So, thank you, everyone, and sorry it has to work out this way. But hopefully we'll sort it out on Friday afternoon.
Cheers.
All
Bye.
right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you.